Okay, good afternoon, guys. Sorry, I had a bad day on Friday and I forgot to put my stream, forgot to sort my stream out for today, so I've literally just done it now. So, okay, so I hope everyone had a good weekend. I had some issues on Friday. I really struggled and lost a few of my accounts. It was just, I don't know what happened to me Friday, but I just found it an extra sort of tough. So I'll talk about that in a minute when there's a few more on. So Caden, how you doing, bud? Levro's trading, how you doing? Have a great trading week. Thank you, mate. Same to you, bud. Same to you. I'll talk about Friday in a minute. Okay, so let's see what's going on. So I've been looking at this now, whether there's a bigger channel or not. There seems really a nice fitting channel on the NQ. So whether anything is like that or not, I don't know. Possibly, I'm not too sure. Hard to say. Let's have a look. Not sure about that. Maybe. There may be a channel. We've got a touch there, and a touch here. It looks pretty alright, I think. You just move that up a fraction so it's out of the way a little bit. So yeah, I'd say something possibly like that. Something like that with a break and a new high. We've had the same sort of thing. It fits nice there. We've got a touch, a few touches there, touch there, and it continued up, and then we had a break, sort of a couple of legs, and we seem to be pushing up now. So Chris, how you doing, bud? How you doing? Yeah, I'll talk about my Fridays in a couple of minutes when we get a few more in. But needless to say, it didn't go well, and I ended up losing 3 of my accounts. No one else to blame but me. So we'll see how we get on here anyway. But let's have a look. So that's quite a sharp old push, that is. Overnight it's literally just gone up. Where have we sort of, where do we open about here, didn't we? 85. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, nearly 50 points. So we're coming up to all-time highs. We're not far away, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. How you doing, Indy? How you doing? So yeah, I'll talk about Friday. First, I want to apologise for my language. When I ended up taking a couple of stupid trades, it wasn't really acceptable. But it was just sort of pure emotion. But I'll talk about that in a minute anyway. I really struggled recently. This PA has been, yeah, it certainly has lately, mate. I don't kind of know why it's extra tough. I don't know why, whether it's, something to do with just the way things get. I really don't know. But it has been horrible lately. I haven't really enjoyed it. It's not a kid show, buddy. It's all good. Fair enough. But yeah, I had a little bit of I think that's the worst I've been on stream, actually, where I've had a bit of a meltdown. Usually I'll finish trading, carry on, which I did, incidentally, and ended up losing 3 accounts. Do you know the frustrating thing is, my wife came in when I was 1 down and she went, "You okay?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm fine. I feel okay." But I think if I'm honest with myself, I was desperate to get another trade. Now, if I'd have walked away, I'd have been $300 down, so I'd have been, a trade and a half away from getting back where I was. Now, as we know, when we go on tilt, when we come back the following day or after the weekend, we're usually perfectly fine. So I don't have a problem making money. I can seem to build an account, but everything goes great when I'm winning trades. Now, I've looked back on the last few weeks and my win rate is a little bit above 85%, going for 2 points. So that's actually good. It's good enough to build an account. The problem I have is when I take a loss. So I think the only way, hey Speedy, how you doing? I think the only way for me to deal with this from now on is a loss at the moment just causes me problems. I try to get it back, and really it's probably the worst thing to do. So I've got a little thing up the top here, new rule. So if I lose one trade in a day, I stop trading PAs. I think it's the only way at the moment until I can learn to deal with them. So I've got a couple of evaluations here. So what I'll either do is go on to an evaluation or go on to a sim, but I won't touch the PAs. And if I can manage to learn to walk away, that should hopefully push me forward to the next level, because it's a problem I have. So the first trade I took, I can't remember what it was now, but I don't know. It was, the trouble is when you lose a trade, you really want to get it back, and the way the price action is lately, there's just so few trades, and you tend to lower your standards and take a poorer trade. And as we know, if you take a poor setup and it's a weak bar, market's got a way of just making you miserable and snapping you up, and that's exactly what happened on Friday, and it ended up costing me 3 accounts. Now fortunately, I've still got the one account, which is a little over $2,000. I've got one which is just under $1,500, and I've got one at $625. So there was damage. I lost 3 accounts. One of them was a newer account. The other one was the other 2,000 account, and the other one was quite new as well. So it could have been worse, but I managed to sort of walk away after these 3, which was better than I've done before. I tend to go through all of them, but I think the only honest answer for me at the moment, because I struggle and my trading quality drops dramatically after a loss, is to finish trading my PAs with 1 loss or 2 winners as well. And when I say finish PAs, I mean the live accounts. I've got the option then to, I think sometimes it's good to keep trading because maybe it helps you calm down, but I stop trading PAs then. I've got 2 options. I can move to an evaluation. They don't stress me at all. I have no issues with evaluations. Or failing that, a sim. Or if I've done a couple of hours, I may just head off. I think it's good to be able to walk away from the screen. And I was doing a little bit of studying over the weekend, and once you can learn and get into the habit of walking away, it does become easier. You hit your target, you hit your rules, and you walk away. But it's the biggest problem I have, and I think it's pretty common. I think a lot of people, find this bit of it tough. I mean, there's been 1 million books written about it. So that's my new rule. I think it's the only thing I can do. To say I'm going to try harder, it's not working. I think I'm just kidding myself. So the option is to go on to a sim or an evaluation, or just walk away for the day. And if I can manage to do that, in all fairness, I don't deserve to earn money if I can't walk away after a loss. Hey Jay, how you doing, bud? But yeah, I apologise for my language on Friday. I know, we all go through it, but really, with me being on stream and all that, I should. You don't know who's watching at the end of the day, don't you? You should, tone your language down a little bit. But there you go. It's raw emotion, we've all been through it, or we all go through it. And it's just one of those things. Sometimes when those emotions get to you, it's when you you tend to not think. And you're running on sort of pure adrenaline, really. But I ended up losing 3 counts, but sounds like how you doing, H? I think it's the only thing I can do, because if it's a loss that causes the problems, I have to put myself, or I have to remove myself from that environment of being able to take another loss while those emotions are still high. And the simple answer is walk away for the day. Whenever I come back the following day, I'm perfectly fine. So if I'd have done that on Friday with 300 down, I'd have had 6 accounts, and I'd have been a trade and a half away from where I was. But you have to try and learn from it and try and move on. And I think that's why it's got such a high failure rate, because of the amount of people that just can't deal with it, and that they have a few breakdowns and they end up walking away, and it's understandable. Certainly not for everyone. It's certainly a tough business to learn, isn't it? But I did a little bit of studying over the weekend, and I had people like Trade in the Zone saying when you can trade and you can do it and you can walk away, trading becomes a lot easier. But at my sort of level, just sort of 3.5 years in, there's still so many emotions involved, and you still got that slight doubt. Can I do it? Am I just lucky? Because there's so much in the way of failures, there's a lot of doubt, and sometimes you feel like you need that little bit of luck and a bit of push. So we got a little, anyway, it makes it worse. Quite often you get all back. Yeah, it does. All my, Chris, how you doing? But all my 20 PAs with Apex have taken a big dent recently. I had 4 losses in a row. Yeah, it is hard, isn't it? I've got to say, you're on top of the world when you're on, when you're winning and you've done 4, 5, 6 trades. It's amazing how great you feel. And then you hit a loss, you even in one loss, and you get that straight away, everything completely changes. So I think my best option, at least for the time being, I think when you get to the level where you're making consistent money month after month, I think in your own mind then you're capable of doing it. And I think losses probably... I had a little bit of chit-chat with Thomas Wade a few months back. And he said, just on his channel, and he said the losses don't hurt nowhere near as much as they used to. He can, carry on trading without it creating any problems for him. But it does come with time. So I did pick up 2 more evaluations. I think 3 is enough really, but I'm more interested in the evaluations so I can maybe continue to trade. Because if I take a loss in the first 10 minutes, I think it's still useful to have the screen time. But then I can move on and it's like riding the bike, isn't it, really? If you fall off, you've got to get straight back on. But then I'll move either to a sim or, so you really need, mate. 1 trade a day. It really is, isn't it? I think sometimes we tend to want to get a trade early or get a trade a bit too quick. When we realise, really, if we're trading for 3 or 4 hours, you've got plenty of time to get a trade. And there's always one good trade. Let's have a look. So we've got a break and a new low. Let's see what's going on here. There does seem to be a little bit of sideways here. We do seem to be going up a bit, but actually, no, I think we're a bit sideways on the NQ. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's hard to know whether we'll continue on and up. Yeah, I'd say probably are slightly so. Yeah, maybe. Trouble is, it is going a bit sideways, so it might look like it's going up a little bit, but it might have just had this break and maybe 1, 2 pushes, and we're doing a bit of sideways. It could drop. So I'm a bit on the fence as to know. I mean, we've certainly been bullish, but the trouble is sometimes when I see this, sometimes it tends to start creating some range tops. Wow, I mean, looking at crypto quickly off the subject, Solana now over $200. That's unbelievable. Do you know, every time I see that thing, I had 40 of them maybe 6 months ago. Every time I see that thing go up, I'm thinking, why didn't I hold? But you just never know, do you? You just never know. Bitcoin's taking a bit of a dive, not much of one, but usually when it does this, it sort of regroups and then maybe encourages. But you sold 60, it's gutting, isn't it? To be honest with you, I really came into crypto towards the end of the bull run, so I started getting in completely at the wrong time. I didn't know much about it, to be honest with you. You hear all the hype with a lot of the guys on YouTube trying to, sell this and sell that, and I got stuck into a few, but I've learned a bit over. And, a few months ago would have been the time to start invest. I just didn't have as much spare capital. But yeah, it is. You hear all these stories about the bull run and the altcoins, and when you see something like Solana just going up, it went down to $8 at one point, didn't it? To go up that much, it's unbelievable. You put money in 10 lifetimes in your bank, you wouldn't get anywhere near that amount. It's unreal, isn't it? But apparently they can tend to go up at different times. You know, Solana might have a run, Ethereum might have a run, ADA might have a run. ADA hasn't done a lot really. I have got a bit in SHIB as well, not a lot, but that tends to, when it tends to go up and we have a good day, that can sort of hit the 25%. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a little look at this. Yeah, we're going a bit sideways here. Is that a leg and a leg, and now we're pushing up? It's hard to say. I mean, it could be leveling off, couldn't it? I thought it was an iffy trade. You had 10 Bitcoin. Oh my god. Oh my god, did you really? That's something you're never going to forget. Yeah, my subscription max site is ending soon. I spent weekend watching a lot of his. Yeah, it's always nice. See, I had a year and then missed about 6 months and then had another year, and that was, I think that finished 3 or 4 months ago. I wanted to go back. I think it's useful to go back and go over the basics again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I mean, is that a bit of a? I don't know. This is pushing up quite quick, but this doesn't want to. That concerns me. Showed live trade. Yeah, Max showed a lot. Yeah, I agree. It was a bit iffy, wasn't it? It was a bit below the EMA, and it wasn't the strongest looking bull bar, really. Yeah, I was surprised. But the only thing I can consider is he's that used to taking those types of trades. He'll have known whether that was going to work or not. So bearing in mind, he's been trading this about 28 years. I mean, that's just, you can't buy skill like that, can you? So I'm assuming he was just, he just sort of knew it was going to work. Ugly trade. Yeah, it was, yeah. But I think that's sometimes why he doesn't show us his trades. Because even he'll take trades that we are taught isn't a good entry to take. You know what I mean? But I think because he's that good at it, he just knows which trades will work, I think. And sometimes, because he only scalps 4 ticks, sometimes even a relatively poor trade will go for 4 ticks. So, you know, I think you just have to, you know, give him the benefit of the doubt that he's just probably done this so many times, he just knows what's going to work. But yeah, it's not a trade I would have took for sure. Guaranteed if I'd have took it, it'd have lost for sure. Okay, so what is going on here? So we got this big short, looking on the NQ, we've got a short trend and then we got another shallow trend, and it does look like it's losing momentum. So there is a lower high there. Actually, I don't mind that setup. It's a bloody big bar though. Mind you, it could be a leg and it continue on, so it's a bit too big for me, really. Could trigger and come down. Come back, sorry. You know, I'll tell you something. I was looking, I was scanning some charts over the weekend. Let's have a look. Okay, so if I'd have taken that now, I'd have been pretty nervous. So it's hard to say whether this is now, it could be just a leg and it may push up. Or there could be a failure, it might come down. Let's have a look here. We got a leg down. I'm just not sure what's going on here, because there's always a possibility that there is some support along there. You can kind of see it. Whether you think it's there or there, that'd probably be an idea. So we don't want to go short here. It's a bit iffy. It's such a strong push up, so it could be just a bit of sideways. So it's hard to say at the moment. So I don't really want to go short just at the moment because it could sting you. In fact, I'll say what I was just about to say. Sometimes when you're looking at other people's charts and you notice something that you're thinking, why haven't I really noticed that before? Because sometimes I wonder. Now, you guys know that I tend to avoid picking tops and bottoms in ranges because I'm not particularly good at them. And I see sometimes Mac picking them and Marco picking them, and I'm thinking, how the hell do you know where to pick it? You know, where to pick something like that? And it might sound a bit stupid. But I noticed something that's absolutely obvious, and I should have noticed before. I don't know why I didn't. So you guys are going to go, well, I've known that for years. Let me have a look. Something I've noticed. Yeah, so there is a failure there, but I mean, it could come down. I'm not sure at the moment because we've had such a strong. It could be two legs, and so it could sting you there and shoot up and take that short out. See if I can find it. This is looking tempting. Mind you, it's congested, so I've got to stay out there. It does look like it's about to drop. I'm just going to drag this Marco's chart from, I don't know, last week, I think. It's just something, picking tops. I mean, look how many tops he potentially seen there. I just wouldn't have the nerve to take a lot of them. But what I've noticed, and you've probably seen this, whenever he takes a short, it's always trapping a bull bar. So I know they're traps anyway, but every time, so we've got this bar coming up here, we've got another big bull bar, and that bear bar traps it by a tick, comes down, so he puts a short in there. So we've got a channel up, we've got a break, a bull bar, traps it by a tick and comes down. We've got a leg up, a break, a bull bar, traps it by a tick and comes down. Second entry short bull bar, traps it by a tick and comes down. Same with that one, two legs back, traps it by about 2 or 3 ticks and comes down. It doesn't come down that far. And same with that one, we look like we're pushing out of this. Bull bar, traps it by a tick. They're all pretty strong entries, these bull bars. I mean, that one finishes on its high. That one finishes a tick off its high. That one finishes a tick. And it literally ticks it and starts to come down. So I know it's probably obvious. Exponential, how you doing? So I think picking tops and bottoms is they're a lot stronger when they trap a bull bar by a tick or two and start to come down. Now, you guys have probably noticed this before, but you know what I mean? And a lot of the time, if you haven't trapped a bar, it doesn't necessarily come down. You haven't noticed that. Well, I thought it might be me, because when you're sort of self-taught to a degree, there are going to be gaps in your knowledge, but I just noticed these bars, when they come down, usually they've trapped a bull bar. So if we've got a channel and a break, and we push up towards these highs and it ends in a bull bar, traders might be buying that thinking we're pushing up some more. So then what happens? It ticks it by a tick or two and finishes like a strong bear bar. And those bars tend to work because I tend to avoid areas of ranges like this because I never quite know what's going to work. And I think it's probably just, I don't think it's... No, I know, but what I'm saying is, if you looked at all of them, they all worked. I know Marco takes 1 or 2 a day, but every single one of those he marked all trap but quite strong looking bull bars at the top of a range. So as it triggers above that bar and comes bearish, that's when they tend to come down. You know what I mean? So it's just something to watch out for, something I'm going to pay attention to. Because the trouble is, if, you know, like Max says, he loves trading ranges, he shorts the top, buys the bottom, but I don't have a lot of luck with them, probably because I've not paid too much attention. And what trades I have done, you know, I've lost and tended to avoid it. But if I can get a couple of those setups in my arsenal, it may give me an extra 2 or 3 trades a week. Particular day. It's just something I noticed. It happens again and again and again. So it's just next time we get into a range, I'm just going to pay attention to it. When does it tend to come off the top? And is it after we trap some longs before we come down? Because usually, obviously, if we're in a range, we tend to, when we get to the top, we come down. When we get to the bottom, we go up. But it's finding that particular bar that works. You know, the ones I ever do take are the ones that break above and then close below. But it's nice to see them, you know, trap a bull bar and then come down, and vice versa. So there is some support along here, so let's see what happens. So we got a leg and a leg, and are we going to come back up? Who the hell knows? It's hard to say at the moment. In fact, I'm going to move that up there a bit. It's usually a low, a lower, high back in. Yeah, the ones I tend to take on wider ranges is where we get a, what am I thinking of? A lower high or a higher low. That usually is a better indicator, but sometimes you miss out on trades, you know what I mean? You don't necessarily get them. You know. But, you know, if you see this one, would you want to buy there? Not necessarily, but look at that one. It triggers, comes straight back down quickly. You know what I mean? We got a strong bull bar there. You may call that high or low. What happens? It triggers, comes down really quickly. Same again there. Triggers, comes down really quickly. Same again there. Big strong bar, triggers, comes down really quickly. Same there. If you'd have gone long there thinking we're going up, triggers by a tick, comes straight down. You know what I mean? Same there. We push back up. 1 tick above, comes straight down. It doesn't always happen, but a lot of the time, see there, nice bull bar there, triggers come straight down. It always exactly the same there. You could say we're pushing up, 1, 2, 3, triple test, triggers you, come straight down. You know what I mean? So it does it a lot of the times when we get into these ranges, exactly the same there. Triggers it by 1 tick, comes straight down. Exactly the same there. Triggers it by 2 or 3 ticks, comes straight down. Same again, 2 or 3 ticks, comes straight down. And same there, you might be thinking we're going long back up. Triggers it by 1 tick, comes straight down. And it tends to come down quick, same there. Triggers it, comes down quick. So whether it's just something or whether it's just something I've seen, but it does seem to be in ranges. Now, I don't know why I've not known that before. Perhaps it's just something I've not noticed before. You know, I'm sort of self-taught, really. I watch Mac and I do this and I do that, and you know what I mean? See that big bull bar, that big bearish bar there? It's triggered it. Is that going to go back in? Who knows? I wouldn't take it, but you never know. There is some support along here, but I think we've had this break and new high. So, but if we do get into these range days, it'd be interesting just to see. That's how he picks tops and bottoms. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. If you see something that triggers above and it traps a strong bull bar and ends really bearish, I think that might be a good indicator. It's certainly something to monitor from now on. You know, if we start to watch it and you see it do it a dozen times in a row, then I think there's a fair comment. That's when, you know, prices, because there's so many traps out there. Traps are a way for some people to make money. or whether it's algorithms or what. I've got no idea. Let's have a look. Leg and a leg. Okay, maybe that's a higher low. I don't know at the moment. It looks more bearish on here. There is some support there, so it could trigger and come down, but at the moment I'm just sitting tight. I can't take anything there at the moment. It is a higher low, but at the moment we're coming down, so but it's some, it's like anything. The more you sit and trade, the more you notice certain things. I'm just surprised I haven't noticed it before. Perhaps that's just the way it is. As we're self-taught, we tend to learn things that are different, Big bearish bar there, but we're close to these lows, and there's a lot of congestion here, so it could mess around going sideways, so I ain't taking anything. Bull buying, first entries with trends. We'll be quick to exit on first. Appointment bar. Was your weekend affected by? Saturday was a little bit. Sunday wasn't too bad. But I feel okay now. Yesterday I didn't feel too bad, but we had a barbecue at my brother's on. So I drank some. I had some whiskey and I soon relaxed. But I got to say, it doesn't hurt me as much as it used to. So I don't know whether that's a good thing or whether I'm just getting numb to it or not. I don't know. But you know what it's like. You punish yourself, don't you? You're angry with yourself for doing it. For 1 minute, I thought, why not I just walk away 300 down? But I was so wanted to get back up. And I think that's the problem. If you try to get your money back, I think what you've got to do is not consider it your money until maybe the end of the month. But the trouble is, every time you win a trade, as far as you're concerned, that money's yours and it's been taken away from you. So I think what you've got to do is just think about the numbers long term. Look at the chart over a month. If I'm winning 85%, does it matter what happens in one day? It matters what happens over a month. If I can be consistent over a month, it doesn't matter whether, if I win 20 trades and lose 4, I'm up. I'm successful. So I think I've just got to think about this, think about it long term. Let's have a look. So that looks like 2 legs up. Let's see what goes here. 1, 2, 3. There's a triple test there on the NQ. Let's see how this finishes. Submitted. It's got to finish good, but there is a triple test on the NQ. Let's have a look. No, that's no good.
Order cancelled.
Let's have a look on this NQ. There is a triple test once, twice, 3 times, but the bar wasn't very good. Hopefully, if this ticks above and comes down sharp, that might be a bit better. It needs to be very bearish, this. If it is, I may have a go. But what I've got to remember is there is some support there, so this could be the bottom of a range. Let me just have a look. Last thing I want to do is go short when we just come off the bottom of somewhere. I don't know whether that is or not. It's hard to say. There is some support there, you can see it, so it's probably not the best figure. If you can trade for a living, you will be paying yourself quarterly. Yeah, I mean, however you want to do it. Whether you draw yourself a small amount every month, you know what I mean? But I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter. I remember Sam said something to me once. He said, don't let one bad day define you as a trader. Now, if I'd have walked away Friday, I'd have been 300 down per account and 150 per the smaller account. Now, 1.5 trades would have got me back to where I was, whereas I didn't have that mental strength to be able to walk away, and I ended up doing stupid things and lost, so I didn't gain a damn thing. And the sooner I start to realise that, the better. But I think that's probably the best option, is that I go onto a sim or an evaluation. Probably be a better idea. They don't stress me. But now, is it a good thing to do? Well, I think what I need to do is to be able to get some control now. And I think someone said to me once, just do 1 trade a day and then walk away, whether a win or loss. And I always avoided it. But actually, the more I think about it, it probably makes sense. Because if I can manage to walk away after a loss, I will start to learn how to get some control back in my trading. And that's ultimately what I need to do to take me to that next level. If I can control myself after losses, then I can make money. I can make money, I just can't keep it. So if I can control myself, it will allow me to keep it and not blow accounts up. So we've got a channel down there and a break. I'm not taking anything just yet. Lower high, maybe. Or a second attempt to go higher. Not sure about that. Maybe it's a 2-tiered channel. It's hard to say at the moment. Yeah, I think it's sensible. It makes sense, doesn't it? If you struggle after a loss, then you need to get away from the computer, or at least not trade a PA. So I don't deserve to earn money from it if I can't walk away when I have a loss. That just says I'm too good to be able to accept losses. Every other professional trader takes losses, and they've been doing it for years. So why have I got the right to be able to say I'm not accepting a loss? I'm carrying on. So it makes sense, doesn't it? So if I can manage to continue to do that, then as far as I'm concerned, then I've got the right to be able to earn some money from it. Right, are we? We may be. Yeah, I started to listen to some more of it last night in bed, but I haven't been sleeping brilliant, so I've been taking some of that melatonin. It's been knocking me out like a light. I don't even remember going to sleep, but I'm going to get a bit earlier and listen to it tonight. I've got both of them on paperback and on Audible. I tend to prefer Audible, really, because you can relax and just let someone else do the talking. But I think ultimately, well, I know it is. That's the thing that's standing me in the way of being a consistent trader. Because I've traded long enough now to know I have the skills to build an account. If I can average at 85%, I'm going to make money. But the second sort of part of the puzzle, or the final part of the puzzle, is dealing with the emotional side. I'm trading on the 400 tick chart, the NQ today. I have 2 wins so far. Yeah, I think sometimes it's good to look at other charts. I mean, you know, sometimes I think if you look at a more of a finer detail chart, you will maybe see when we get that push up there, that big bar there, that may split into 2 with a higher low. I find it often happens sometimes. But the trouble is with such a short moving, you've got to be very quick, haven't you? And I think you've got to adjust your profit because the ATR is lower, isn't it? So you. But yeah, I think it's not a bad idea. Okay, so we're going to be coming up here. So let's see what happens. Are we continuing higher now? It's hard to say. Or are we going to come down? Let's remove that, actually. Let's get some proper... Okay, so there's a lot of support there. We had a little break and it came back. So interesting to see how this works. You know, I definitely think there's setups to be taken at the tops and bottoms of ranges, but you've got to know what you're doing, and it's where you've heard me say many times I avoid them because I'm crap at them. Well, they are a valid setup. Mac tends to, he loves trading them, so there's definitely setups there. So I think it's probably up to me to learn them. So we've got a bull bar there that's triggered, but that's not high enough, I don't think. But if it turned from there and came right back down, then... but it's just something to watch from now, isn't it? And if I find it's happening all the time, then it makes sense. But I am using Mac Thru's also with stop loss. Yeah. I think, over the weekend I thought, am I missing? Should I go back to penguin style or try and have a go at that? And I'm thinking, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They struggle and they think they've got to change their strategy. Now, if I'm honest with myself, this strategy, as far as I'm concerned, is a very good, successful, long-term trade strategy. So the strategy isn't the problem, it's me. So it doesn't make sense to try something else because it's taken me nearly 3 years to get to where I am learning this style, and you don't want to throw that away and just change it because I've heard so many times the strategy is very rarely the problem. It's just me. So with these new rules anyway, that will give me some time to accept and walk away. So if I can start doing that, that'll make me feel good. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there is a possibility of a bigger channel there. It's certainly feasible. It's not far from the tops. But it's quite a big channel just to rely on, I think, at the moment, because you never know, we may get a fail. But the trouble is, when you put a channel like that, naturally you can't help but thinking I'm looking for longs when we could just fade this and come straight down the bottom. So that now has triggered that bull bar above there. Let's see what happens. It's triggered it by a few ticks and actually made a new high. So if the channel is bigger, so let's see, we got a channel there with a break. I also am a fan of when we have a break, have two pushes to go higher. It hasn't triggered as it is. So let's have a look. It didn't trigger anyway, so it got a bit far above that, I think. But it's still too early, really. I mean, is this a range? It might not be. If it comes back into it, then I'll keep it as a range. But failing that, it might not be. It might just be, a little bit of sideways before it continues up again. Excuse me. So let's see if this big bullish bar triggers. Yeah, it hasn't triggered there. The 1,000 tick chart it has. So are we just retesting this and we're going to continue up? It's hard to say at the moment. It may come back. I mean, in all fairness, it's pretty bullish, but we could just be making range tops here. It's hard to say. Yeah, unfortunately I can't take a higher low here. Because it could sting you and come down. We've had a break out of that channel, I think. You could draw it in there together, but I think the safer option is to do that, in which case we've had a break. Okay, it's getting a bit. I like the fact that those bars so far have closed below there. I think that's where it's got its most touches. What I'd like to see is it trigger a bull bar, second entry long. Trigger that bar. I mean, it may work, but at the moment, because of this, I'm just not confident enough to take a trade just at the moment. We got a leg down, 2 attempts to go higher. It's been very bullish, see, so it's hard to say. With this back and another push, we may continue on up. There is a double top there. How's that going to finish? No, nowhere near enough. I mean, if that finished very bearish, it's actually a failure, but a double top, it may come back. It's hard to say at the moment, but that channel technically played out. I like the fact that all 3 of those bars are under that line. Is that important? Maybe. That's pretty strong. Let's see what happens there. Could just be range. It'd be interesting to see if that triggers what happens. Okay, so that's triggered now by a tick or 2 ticks. Let's see what happens. I mean, we're comfortably above this anyway. I wouldn't necessarily call this a range. In fact, we've only really touched a couple of times at the bottom, so it's probably not even a range. Let's get rid of it a minute. Yeah, I don't think it is a range, to be fair. Another odd day. Hmm. I'm not sure about that. What is going on here? It's possible. Trouble is, we got a leg. We could have another leg. This is looking kind of interesting. A little bit of sideways there. Nice big bullish bar. That looks like it's likely going to push up. But you just never know. It could tease you and then come dropping down. It's so hard to. Trouble is, if you take that, you're already past these highs. So we're into the highs of the day. So it could rocket up. It could just come straight back down. Who the hell knows? This is interesting. We've got a bull bar that's triggered. Is it coming down or is it going up? I got no idea at the moment. Not a clue. We're definitely trying multiple times to go higher. Could get a big drop here. I won't be surprised. Yeah, all three of them, bud. The 3 PAs and the 3 evaluations. I've got one of them on 2 contract and the other 2 PAs on just a single. And 3 contracts each on the evaluations. Yeah, I know what you're saying there. The trouble is, we're all pushed to find one trade at the moment here. So it could take you forever and a day. In all honesty, my ideal scenario would be to have 20 contracts, 20 accounts, and only trade 10 maximum per time. But if you look at Alpine, he has many more setups and he takes many more trades, whereas I tend to average 1 trade a day. So if I'm just trading that 1 trade a day and I've got 3 accounts, it's going to take me, I may not even get 1 single trade on all of them in a week. See, so I don't mind trading 3 or 5, but once we get to 10, I think that's when I tend to cool things down. But I just trade them on different levels. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, if I had 20 accounts, I wouldn't trade them all, purely and simply because the issues that you can have with Rhythmic. So the maximum I'd trade is with 10, and I would probably slightly just adjust the contract size, maybe have 2 contracts on 3 of them and 1 contract on the remaining 7, something like that, I think. Yeah, it does concern me a little bit now. It's it's rare, and if there is a big outage, they tend to sort everyone's account out. So that's good. But if it's happens more on an individual basis, that's what concerns me. Imagine trading 20 accounts and you lose the lot. I don't think I could live with myself. So yeah, well, one contract. Yeah, I respect that, mate. That's good. You know, I mean, if you can get on average one trade a day on one contract, it's $100 a day. Now, my thought is, I would expect to get somewhere around about $2,000 per month trading 2 contracts and $1,000 per month with one contract. In fact, you probably might make a bit more on one contract because there's a little bit less stress. Sometimes when you panic and get out of a trade a bit early, you might not do it. So I would expect to average somewhere around about that. And trading one contract, if you win the equivalent of 2.5 trades a week, trading 2 points, that's $1,000 a month. Now, 2.5 winning trades a week is not a lot, really. You know, I'd expect to get that. That would be $1,000 a month. You know, you do that on 10 accounts, it's $10,000 a month. It's a good wage. You know, and none of that. If you can get to that level that you're earning that sort of money, you could soon tuck a couple of $1,000 into your own account every month and start to build that. So I think when you can make money, consistently make money, you'll just make more and more, because obviously when you get to that level, you can start to, you know, introduce your own account and start to slowly build that on the side. And, you know, you've got lots more options then, I think. So it's hard to know what's going on here. We got a touch here, a touch and a touch that. That kind of looks okay. But the trouble is, it might be a leg and it could come down. It's so hard to say at the moment. This market is brutal at messing you around. It really does. It gives you an option. It gives you an opportunity, and just, I mean, you've got to take such a good, strong signal bar. Otherwise, you're just going to get messed around. It does seem brutal. You know, they say the market's not out to get you. I disagree. It flipping well seems like it. So, I mean, there is a possibility of a bigger channel. It's certainly possible. We got a touch there, a couple of touches there, a touch there. If you had a break on this, I don't think it's that bad, actually. I'd just rather just keep it on the back burner, in the back of my mind at the moment. Just so I don't get too biased. See, that type of bar, strong bar off that line, I just can't take them when they're not close to there. I've been stung too many times with them. You think, oh, nice strong bar right off the key entry point, and it triggers you. Glad to see you still have. Yeah, me, you and me both, mate. I feared the worst. Yeah, I thought you might have done. I'm annoyed with myself because I didn't walk away when I was $300 per account down. It's only 1.5 trades. And if you can only lose the equivalent of 1.5 trades on a bad day, you're not doing too bad. So I was annoyed with myself. But my problem was I tried to stay because I wanted to try and win some of it back. And I think that's where you forget. That's where you get the problem. I think it's good to think about how many points you're making over a month, not per day. Because if you're judging yourself on how well you're trading on a day, and you have a bad day, you're in all sorts of trouble. So I just have to try and learn from it. But I have put in place the one loss and finish, or what I either finish, go on to a sim, or trade an evaluation, but I won't trade a PA again. Is that a spike in the chart? Yeah, I got to stop trading my live PA if I take one loss a day, and equally 2 wins as well. I think if you can get 2 wins in this, with this day and age, the way price action is at the moment, I think it's a good option to do that as well. I had a big sit down and a big think and a chat with my wife over the weekend, and I addressed each individual different areas. I'm pleased how my trading's going, as in my skill level. I'm staying out of a lot of traps now. And I'm averaging 85% win rate, which, going for 2 points, is comfortably doable to make money. So that side of it is okay. And the more I trade, I'm going to continue to improve that anyway. So that's sort of taking care of itself. But the bit I am struggling with, and I think it's probably the same for most, is the revenge trading and unable to accept the loss. So the simple answer, we had a chat about it. The simple answer was, well, is it a problem if you walk away? I went, well, not really. Does it mean you're going to trade a lot less? I went, well, not really. If I'm winning 85%, I'm losing the equivalent of 1.5 trades in a fortnight. So it's not like I'll be missing out on trading days. And ultimately, if I don't do something, then I can just keep kissing goodbye to PA after PA, and that's not what I want to do. So hopefully this will get me out of a habit, will get me into a routine of having one loss, straight away changing. And if I can manage to stick to that, then I think I've got half a chance then. And maximum 200 loss, yeah. Well, the trouble is with the maximum 200, it's hard sometimes. And if you take a great trade that's a 3-point risk, you might take that trade that's a 2-point risk. So it's very hard to manage your risk, really, because until the setup sort of appears, you never quite know what your risk is going to be. So it's a bit hard, really. Actually, I actually like that. That actually I think fits nice. So yeah, it's just one of those. It's awkward, really. Okay, so I'd expect another leg there. So we got a touch. We got 1, 2, 3, and here fitting nice on the backside. So this I think looks okay if we can get something. Maybe high or low. There's a second entry long on that EMA, on the NQ, which is triggered. My only slight concern is it's triggered and starting to come down. Yeah, look at that. This market is a bugger. It really is. You're thinking touch. Beautiful. It's confirming that trend. What happens? You go long and it comes down and takes you straight out. It's annoying, really. It's almost like they're targeting scalpers, isn't it? It's so annoying. But granted, that is really one leg down, isn't it? Although it's technically a second entry. I would prefer to have 2 legs down, but it just goes to show if people are thinking, there you go, there's the first entry, there's second entry, it's sitting nice on there. I get people are taking it, but I just get so suspicious of trades like that now that I tend to avoid them. But you've got to be so careful, haven't you? So we know there's some support there. We can see that, and it's bouncing along there. So maybe that's the first touch. So I think there's still a chance we're going to go higher. You just got to be a bit careful. And I think when you can only trade one in a day, one loss, I think you probably you don't want to lose and have to walk away, because I enjoy the challenge. So I think it probably makes you take better setups as well. So I think it's win-win. But I do look forward to trading. But then I've got the option then to trade either a sim or an evaluation if I happen to be doing an evaluation. I've got that option. So there may be a little channel there with an overshoot. It's hard to say. We are stalling around here, so whether we'll eventually come down or whether we'll continue up, your guess is as good as mine. I'm having a nice long weekend away Easter weekend, which is a week Friday. I'm going away Friday and coming back Monday. So I don't know if you guys in the US have Easter, or is it just us? I can't think now. Pretty sure you don't. We have Good Friday and Easter Monday, so I won't be trading the Friday and the Monday. I'm going down south to the south, well, close to the south coast, Winchester. My sister lives. Big holiday. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, great. Yeah, so I haven't been away for a while, so we're gonna get away for the long weekend. Let's have a look. So it's triggered that bearish bar there and pushed up. So that's very tempting there. That's very tempting.
Order submitted.
Let's see how that forms. It's a big ass bar, isn't it?
Order cancelled.
2 days without trading. I need it, mate. I do.
Order submitted.
So
Order filled.
oh shit! It hasn't triggered. Oh, bummer. Oh, that was silly. Oh, please trigger. Please trigger. Okay, it's triggered. I like this. We got 2 legs down on the NQ and it's holding there. We got like a triple bottom with a strong push off here. So I don't think that's that bad. Oh, don't do that to me now. It looks like an overshoot to me. 1, 2, 3. It's almost like a triple test. 1, 2, 3. Come on, get up. And there's a failure there. That bear bar is triggered, and it's a failure. Come on, push up. I like the way we've come from the top. It looks like an overshoot once, twice, 3 times, and a strong move up from there. There's a lot of buy in there below there, see, which is pushing that up. Well, this may be me finishing early. Come on, push up. Maybe a leg and a leg. Come on. Up we go. Up we go. Okay, that's encouraging. Now, I like to get out at the tops of these bars. Come on, push up. Thought that was looking good then for a minute. No, it's not looking good. This all of a sudden, I don't like the way it's flickering. Oh, I really liked it. I thought it was good, strong buy. And when it broke below there, it looked strong to me. A little channel with an overshoot. It bounced once, twice, 3 times, and then rocketed up. That, for me, would have said there's a lot of buyers below there. I like the way it triggered below that bear bar and triggered below there. Sometimes they just take a little bit of time, but once it gets above there, I think we may have half a chance. It's still slowly moving up on the NQ, so we'll see. We'll see. It's still sort of making a line there, so... We need to get above there, really. Is this a second entry short? Oh, it's not looking good, is it? I think our only option is to trigger below that bar and push up, I think. Okay, that's triggered. Now we need a strong push up. Just seems to be struggling to get up to me. This is going to take me out. Come on, finish strong. It's going to take me out 100%. The only thing I can do is to put it there. I don't like moving this, but that to me is a stronger bar. Now, as it's pushed up, I'm going to put it back, and I'm going to leave it. If it takes me, it takes me. Leg in a leg. Yeah, I put it back. I put it back. I just liked it below that higher low there. I'm just going to put it one tick below that bar. That's probably the best option. Damn.
Order filled.
Oh well. It'll move now, I bet you. Leg and a leg. Oh, that's frustrating. Oh dear. Okay, I'm just frustrated. I'm just frustrated. Okay, I'm just not in the mood for trading, to be honest with you. I'm going to finish today. I'm just angry with myself. Okay, I'm going to knock up on the head early today, folks. I'll catch up with you all same time tomorrow. I appreciate your comments. Have a good day, and I will catch up with you tomorrow.